I spent a lot of time thinking about what to say today. It wasn't until 2 nights ago that it became clear to me what to talk about. Command Sergeant Major Horney and I were out in the middle of the night conducting battlefield circulation and checking on the progress of our security positions along Route Montreal and Route Uwale. We're checking on the security posture and level of vigilance in each of our positions at night. We stopped first at Strong Point Rattlesnake to find 2nd Platoon Combat Company filling sandbags, hoisting a tower into position, and generally improving their position. There was an unexpected amount of activity for such a late hour, some of which was probably generated by my unexpected arrival on site. But there was literally a hum of activity, and that was reassuring. The platoon sergeant showed me around the perimeter and described the improvements he was planning for the next 24 hours. We then traveled east to Strong Point Coral. Here was 3rd Platoon Combat Company working on their position. Again, soldiers filling sandbags and chatting to one another as they worked. I listened from the darkness to their bantering back and forth, and it was reassuring. At 01 in the morning, this infantry platoon, who had lost 5 of their closest comrades just a week ago, was working hard and enjoying being together despite the circumstances, despite the hardship and sorrow. They were moving forward and improving their position. The leaders and soldiers on site were alert and active. Again, the platoon sergeant described to me the priorities of work and his plans for the night. From there, we traveled east along Route Montreal, past Copnogum, and north along Route Uwale to the Strong Point at the Bend. Here was 2nd Platoon Battle Company working on their position. Soldiers in placing camo netting and improving their position. The platoon leader was alert and active and described to me his plans for defending the position. Everywhere we went on that night, there was the kind of activity you would expect of a professional, disciplined infantry unit. Working hard in the dark of night, improving their positions, constantly looking for opportunity against the enemy, and making the adjustments. This is the spirit that our fallen would demand of us. It is our duty now to live up to the sacrifice of our fallen, to do what they would want us to do, to complete the mission we were given and bring peace to the valley. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eyes, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget. Sergeant Frank, Sergeant Freeman, Specialist Lay, Specialist Morris, PSC Lopez, I will never forget you, and I know that none who serve with you will ever forget you. And I will never forget the courage of Combat Company. Take care of each other. God bless Combat Company, and may God bless Cho Sin.
The men we've lost during this deployment are among the greatest citizens our nation will ever know, and our country is worse now without them. They will each be missed by all who love them, family, friends, and comrades alike. Those of us who remain to carry on our mission endeavor with tremendous courage to live up to their example in an attempt to honor their sacrifice and ensure that their death is not in vain. We will never forget the men we honor today, their memories forever imprinted in our hearts and in our minds. As I think about each of the men we honor today, it is easy to recall the things that make each of them unique. Sergeant Frank would smoke cigarettes and consume protein shakes before going to the gym, although I saw more dancing than weightlifting when I would walk past the gym. I can't help but recall Sergeant Freeman's wife, Jennifer, giving him a hard time at FRG meetings because she heard that I was a better basketball player than he was. And as loud and as obnoxious as Sergeant Freeman could be normally, he would remain absolutely silent and just take his chiding from her. I'll never forget when we first arrived in theater while we were all crammed into that transient tent at CAF, waiting to finish our training, and at night, as Specialist Lay, a comedic ringleader for the company, shouted "Mountaintop" at every opportunity. Absolutely unauthorized. From the first moments after his arrival, PFC Lopez immediately asserted himself as a go-to guy, the dependable, hard-working friend who would give you the shirt off his back if he thought that was what needed to be done. Specialist Morris, though new to the company, had a contagious smile. It was hard to be around him and not find yourself with an equally goofy grin on your face. I don't think I ever saw him down. Regardless of what was going on, it was a quality that I admired in him tremendously. I was recently asked if I could describe the soldiers, NCOs, and officers of Combat Company in but one word. And initially I thought that it might be a difficult undertaking, as there are many words that describe this company. Passionate, aggressive, loyal, diligent, resourceful, humble. Absolutely. All great words. Words that do describe attributes that have come to be synonymous with what we've accomplished thus far. However, as I consider the character of this company, the only word that does justice to describe you is resilient. Resilient after your movement to Swamp during Chosen Fire 2. Resilient after the shortest, most jam-packed training period I've ever seen in my Army career. Resilient after spending our JRTC box rotation defending our COP from being overrun daily, while the villagers who were openly hostile against us slowly warmed to us, even after being so intimidated by the enemy that every time we entered the village it was a company operation. Resilient after we left our families 5 weeks early to deploy. Resilient after fighting our way through the grape fields to develop the enemy situation in Nalgam. Resilient after losing Specialist Dennis and seizing the strong point in Sarkila that now bears his name, all in the same 24-hour period. Resilient after losing our company first sergeant and PFC Johnson, one of the most likable guys in the company, in an enemy ambush, while displaying some of the most heroic acts that I've ever witnessed. Resilient after 5 beloved friends were wounded in IED strikes during Operation Steel Lion 2 and seizing the enemy's base of operations in Sedan and Puit-Calais. Today, in spite of the tragic loss that we suffered on 11 August, you, Combat Company, continue to be resilient. You have responded with effort and discipline to defeat the enemy in Nalgam, to push him into the Arghandab River, or to kill him if he chooses to stay and fight. You have shown that we came to fight, and that we will not be deterred in our mission. For many, years are tallied by months and days, but for you, the seasons are marked not by sweet measures nor by the calendared years themselves, but by battles. Campaigns fought and comrades lost. Trials of death survived. For others, their memories are written with ink and paper. But for you, Combat Company, your history is carved upon your person with the stylus of steel, your alphabet engraved indelibly upon your flesh and in your heart. You all have my respect, my admiration, and my love. You will not be forgotten.
Lopez and I did everything together. We came to Fort Drum together. We came to 3rd Platoon together. We endured the suck together, from the bitter cold of Fort Drum to the heat, mud, and dust of Nalgam. Before every patrol, me and old Blue would bump knuckles and say, "Let's make it through this one alive, Blue, together." We shared everything together, from a case of beer to care packages to rack space. Back in the early days in Nalgam, Lopez and I were black on tobacco for several weeks. Lopez found a can in the trash with hardly half a pinch left in it. I told him it was pretty gross to be dipping garbage dip. Later on that day, we shared that can on a waste burning detail. That was just the kind of person Lopez was, giving to others even when he didn't have enough for himself. He was always the one to stand up for that detail, take the extra shift, and put that extra weight in his pack, just to make things that much easier for his buddies. He never complained. He busted butt until the job was finished. Lopez was always looking for the next job to be done without ever expecting any praise. Lopez loved his family, talked about his mother, father, sisters, and extended family often. He cherished the close and loving relationship he shared with all of them. Lopez was caring. He was always there to listen, to share the fruits of the good, and to help take on the burdens of the bad, always watching out for his battle buddies. During a battle damage assessment mission to Haji Abbas, I was sucking pretty hard. Lopez quickly took notice and gave me half a bottle of ice-cold water he got after rushing a severely injured local national boy to the cop. He then made me switch spots with him so I could pull security in the shade while he endured the humidity and blazing rays of the Afghan sun. These are all just brief examples of what Lopez was like every minute of every day. Lopez personified what it meant to be a good person. Lopez is and was a valued soldier, beloved son and brother, a courageous hero, someone I was honored to serve with and call my best friend. So where do we go from here? I'd like to think that we will do as Lopez would have done. Pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and Charlie Mike. Our comrades did not die in vain, for I know that myself and the men of Combat Company are on the warpath, ready to honor our lost loved ones and finish the job that we all started, together. Lopez would have hated to see all these sad faces today on his behalf, but I take comfort knowing that right now, Lopez is in a better place, watching over all of us with his ever-caring and comforting smile. So let's smile with Lopez now and remember the good times. You will never be forgotten. We all miss you. We all love you.
Scout Sergeant Mullins. Air First Sergeant. PFC Reynolds. Air First Sergeant. Sergeant Frank. Sergeant Edward Frank. Sergeant Edward J. Frank. Sergeant Freeman. Sergeant Jamel Freeman. Sergeant Jamel T. Freeman. Specialist Lay. Specialist Patrick Lay. Specialist Patrick L. Lay. Specialist Morris. Specialist Jordan Morris. Specialist Jordan M. Morris. PFC Lopez. PFC Ruben Lopez. PFC Ruben J. Lopez. Task Force, present Horse.
you.